Welcome to another Tougher Together Tuesday on a Tuesday night. Now, before I get into my topic on tonight, here's a quote for you. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. People know themselves much better than you do. That's why it's important to stop expecting them to be something other than who they are. Maya Angelou. My topic on tonight is the new regime. Now, I was talking to my son over the weekend, and we were at a garage sale, and I was showing him some encyclopedia books. And he was like, what is that? What did they use those for? And I was like, oh, well, this is how, the same way you have the internet, that you're able to search things, or you go to Wikipedia and you're able to search things. I was showing him that back in the day, this is how we searched everything and how we found everything before the internet. This was a way for us to actually study and figure out things in the world. We actually use a encyclopedia. So I say all that to say on tonight, make sure you do your research on these things. I'm not going to leave any links because it's going to be a lot. So look these things up on your own time and find the videos. So the first thing I wanted to talk about with the new regime, if you notice when Trump was speaking on Monday, he was talking about how they actually rigged the election. Now, I'm not sure if you guys were able to see that video or not, but he spoke about how they actually rigged the election, and then he spoke about how even when in Pennsylvania, that they were able to actually get all the votes over there because of some of the stuff that Elon Musk was able to do with the actual computers. And he spoke about also how he was the one that actually brought the Olympics and the World Cup to LA, and that the sad thing about it was he wasn't going to be the president to actually be there in office when these things actually happen, and how, based on them rigging the election, he was able to actually be there for the stuff that he brought in. So when I was hearing all those things, I was just thinking about how when he lost, he was talking about how things were rigged. And now that he's back in office, he's talking about how, things aren't basically that he rigged the election this time. And it was funny because it doesn't seem like too many people are actually talking about that or saying anything about that. And it's just funny to me how he made a big fuss about it when he lost, and then now he's talking about how he actually did it. So we definitely gotta, question whether or not it actually was, or if they all are actually rigged, and if they decide who's going to go into office each and every time. I know this is something that a lot of people actually think about, that they say, hey, you know what, the people who are elected presidents are already decided, and they just fool us to think that we're actually voting for who's actually going to be in. And I think when him speaking and saying things like that just raises that question even more. Another thing I wanted to point out with Elon Musk, if you haven't seen it, go look it up. He did this Nazi symbol when he was actually speaking. Now, he said that he was doing his heart goes out to people. You do see that he's touching what appears to be his heart. So a lot of people were questioning that and saying, hey, that's not actually what it was. He was actually doing the Nazi symbol when he was actually doing that. So they used to do that thing back in the day. And the thing, I heard one person say, let's see him actually go to Germany and see him actually do that, and see if he would feel the same way. And I haven't heard him actually speak out against what happened or speak to what actually happened. But I would say we should definitely question that, especially being that his family is from South Africa. If you do your studies on South Africa, And what was going on there, the majority of the people, of course, are black, but they're not the ones actually in power there. So, there was a big uprising about, how they were actually being treated by those who are actually white in that actual state. So, being that he actually lived there and that's where he's actually from, he could be definitely a person who doesn't look at others in a certain type, in a good light. And so he may be one of those who are actually racist because of where he actually came from and how he was when he was in South Africa, or how his family was when they were in South Africa. And then we know he comes from wealth. So this is something that you definitely want to look at. And then this is something that should be alarming for the rest of the U.S. If you got this guy in there and he's actually going to be working in the White House, and then this means that he couldn't be working to go against other races. And if that's so, then you'll start to see things get a little shaky here in the United States. So this is something that we should be worried about. Now, another thing, you saw Snoop Dogg performing there, and a lot of people, and I guess that kind of goes to the quote I read earlier. A lot of people were talking about how can he perform at this Trump's rally or inauguration when he was the one that was actually speaking out against Trump when he first actually got elected. But I believe I've told you guys on other videos that all money is green, and I believe Snoop is just basically going out to try to make his money. And I've heard him speak, I believe it was on the Breakfast Club before as well, and he was speaking saying that he performed for Donald Trump some years back, and this was right after he made that speech about talking about who's going to perform for him first, who's going to be the first Sambo. Now, what he said in that interview was that, they pay for the cool, so they can't be cool themselves, so they have to pay for it. So this is why I actually performed for him. So I believe it was the same thing with this time. Snoop is a very popular person, and he knows that, hey, they're going to pay for me to actually do this. And I would definitely say that, we should be upset about it because he changed up his words based on what he said. He was talking about other people, and then he was one of the ones that went to actually go perform. But I don't think in a country that we're trying to get to be on one accord, that we should be complaining about, somebody going and performing for someone just because we feel opposite about that party. But I do think we should charge Snoop, since he said what he said, to say, hey, all right, now you made all that money by you going and performing. You need to bring this back into our community. You need to give back to the community, since you were speaking out against this person and then you went to perform for him. So since you went ahead and you did that, we gonna need some more dollars from you in our communities, since you went against the community to go do that and went against your own words. We gonna need some money back from you. And that's how I think we should start handling people in situations like that. And I believe they can have their own choice, if they choose to roll with Trump or whoever, that's their prerogative. But they can't be telling the people one thing and speaking against us doing it, and then they go out and do it themselves. And if they do, we gonna need some dollars from you. So let's get some dollars from Snoop for what he did. Last but not least, I always feel that our country shouldn't be divided and that we should be on one accord, because this actually helps out the people. This helps us to move together as one unit. And I believe that, even with Democrats and Republicans, I don't consider myself to be either. I just think that they need to start working together better so that things could be better for the people in the United States. I think when they're going at it with each other and they're going back and forth, they usually don't actually help out the people, and things usually don't get done. Now, what I've seen as Trump was getting sworn in and everything, You've seen Obama show up. You've seen the vice president and President Biden and Miss Harris. They showed up. And even though Trump was basically trashing their regime and everything like that, they still sat there respectfully, and they didn't, try to dispute any of the things that he said. They sat there, and you seen the clean trading of office, and I think that's what we need more of. And we also seen Trump's former VP actually be there as well. Now, the sad thing about it was when Trump lost, you noticed that he wasn't actually there when Biden and Harris actually got into office. So this is why I give big ups for them actually being there as they transferred the office over to him, showing that we should be, united. Whether it's a Democrat in there or a Republican, we still are the United States, and we should be united. So I thought that was very big and respectful on their parts by them actually showing up and giving him the office and giving him the respect that he is the new president of the United States. Now, on the other hand, I do think we got to be a little weary about Donald Trump being in there, just because it doesn't seem like with him he has any kind of respect for them or their actual party. And so it seems like with them actually working together, it's not going to be a good, clean little slate. Another thing was that Obama got booed while he was getting ready to walk in, and I believe the Clintons got booed as well. I think that type of behavior shouldn't actually be going on. They are still former presidents of the United States. Like them, don't like them, we should still, like I said, we're supposed to be united. So they shouldn't be booing anybody. I would hate for whenever Trump leaves office, for if he walks out there, for him to get booed as well, just because people feel another way, or if the Democrats, I should say, get back into office. So, lastly, too, I would say, did you notice all the CEOs that were actually there lining up to see Trump? And then a lot of them who were actually, some of them maybe were against some of the things that he said. I think it's something that we should all look at, is that no matter who's in office, these high CEOs who have big companies, they're still going to be able to do their things. You've seen the owner of Apple actually there, and they were speaking against his own sexuality, But he knows that now he has to bow down, I guess, and kiss the ring since Donald Trump is in office. And so I think this is the reason why he actually showed up, because they're going to actually want to get those federal contracts, and they're going to want to get, help from the government. And so I think we're saying all these things. This is why I say all money is green. You see that these people, even though they may dislike some of the things that Trump says, now that they know that he's actually in office, they're going to kiss up to him, because they know this is where their contracts are going to come through, and this is where their money is going to be able to come through, and they'll be able to actually make more money. So this has been another Tougher Together Tuesdays. And remember, two is better than one if two functions as one. So stay together.